Welcome to the inaugural, the very first Bricktown Breakdown and Oklahoma City Thunder podcast powered by OU Insider. My name is Brandon Drum. I'm here with Jesse Crittenden, season ticket holder Jesse Crittenden, diehard Thunder fan Jesse Crittenden. I am too. This is gonna be fun. We thought about it. It's off season. Let's talk some Thunder basketball. Let's do a podcast. Let's have some fun. We hope you guys join us on this voyage that we're going to take as Oklahoma City, ends the rest of the regular season. They head into playoffs. Afterwards, you got the NBA draft. You got all the free agency. And we're going to be right here talking to you guys about it. And it's going to be really, really fun. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But last night, Oklahoma City got win number 60, Jesse. 121-105 over the Kings. Obviously, Chet Holmgren came back for maybe just a game. We don't ever really know if he's going to play outright the next game. We don't know how that's going to be. But SGA's Mr. obviously dependable, right? Lou Dort's Mr. Dependable. Obviously, Hartenstein's been, ever since the beginning of the year and he got healthy, he's been Mr. Dependable for the most part for OKC, and they've won. Even with what I think is 28 different starting combinations for OKC this year. That's a remarkable feat, man. 60 wins, 28 different starting lineups. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think there was a moment yesterday during that game where, they get out to a big lead. Sacramento starts hitting a bunch of threes in that third quarter and they cut it a little bit. Then the Thunder, carry away with it in the fourth quarter. There was a moment for me that even as long as the season is, I still find myself so invested, not only in game to game, but even possession to possession, where my mood can swing so wildly that there was a moment, even as they got the win, there was a moment to me that was like, for all of the anxiety about the postseason or Shea winning MVP or any of this other stuff, there was just, I kind of had to force myself to appreciate how cool it is that this team is already at 60 wins, already has the 1 seed locked up. It truly has just been incredible. It's been so much fun. And I think even yesterday, a game where they're missing J-Dub again, the Kings threatened for a little bit and the Thunder still win. It's just, I'm trying to make myself not take all of this for granted for how incredible this season has been. It really has been.
It has. 2012, 2013 was the last time Oklahoma City hit 60. They've only done it once. Isn't that crazy? Like all the success that they've had as an organization ever since they've been to Oklahoma City, with all the superstars that they've had, they've only had one 60-win team, and that was 2012, 2013. The team that ultimately probably should have won the title, right, with Kevin Martin.
Don't get me started.
Yep. Pat Beverly kind of ruined that for everybody in the second round of the or it was the first round, right? First round.
Yeah, against the Rockets.
Yeah, Rockets in the first round, game 5. Wow. Oklahoma City closed it out the next game, but it's just crazy to think that, they probably should have won the title that year. They were the best team in basketball. The good news is, this Oklahoma City Thunder team is battle tested with injuries. I think that team wasn't. I think that's what you look back at that team, and I believe they missed. Didn't Kevin Durant miss a significant amount of time that year, or was it the year after?
It was the year
after, right?
The next 2 years after next year he won MVP. The year after that, he missed, his foot. And the Thunder missed the playoffs that year. But yeah,
it was Russ that missed a lot the next year.
The next year, yes, Russ missed a lot of that year.
Yeah, because of his knee, he couldn't get it right, and he'd come back and then have to go back and clean it back out. And people were wondering if he was going to be the same all that time. But I digress. This team's fun. I mean, I guess a good question, a little trivia for you. If I had to ask you who had the best plus minus last night out of everybody, who do you think it would be?
I should know, but I want to say, was it Alex Caruso that had the best plus minus last night?
Yes, by 1 point. Who was second?
Isaiah Joe.
Good job. Look at you.
Hey, I did watch the game. I did not know that, but it's more testament to how good Caruso's been the last few games.
Yes, he's actually hitting shots now. Look. Was it the night before where it bounced up really high and then it went in? Yeah, it was.
Clippers game, that corner three. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Clippers at Clippers. Yeah, so that's what it's been like for OKC. Like the weirdest people are making the shots that matter for them. Um, it's not just SGA, and yeah, he's probably the MVP or should be the MVP. But this year, I think they are so underrated, man. Like as far as just their depth, it's quite extraordinary how deep they are.
It's the one thing that those KD Russ teams never had, which is why
Correct.
it was so awful, or why when Russ got hurt, it was bad, or even when Ibaka got hurt in the 13-14 playoffs against the Spurs, why it was
Yep.
just hard to recover from that. Those teams just didn't have like like even last year. Think about how healthy the team was last year. They get to 57 wins. It was an awesome season last year, right? And the
Mhm.
depth was still good. It's a testament to how much better this year's team is that you can miss Chet for almost 40 games to start the year. You could miss J-Dub for these last couple of weeks that Hartenstein missed early in the year, that
Yep.
Caruso's been in and out of the lineup, and that they're at 60 wins with more than 10 games to go is not only a testament to the culture that this team has, the depth that this team has, but also I think shows you just how much more better constructed this team is
Mhm.
than even the KD Russ teams ever were, where they couldn't even withstand a bad shooting night from one of those two guys, let alone an injury to one of those two
Yeah.
guys. Right? It's a testament to how well this team is built.
And I think it's also a testament to how the organization has grown, right? Like you look back at that Harden trade, right, for Kevin Martin, all for $4 million, right? They couldn't come together for $4 million. Oklahoma City didn't want to hit the luxury tax at that point. And then you look at what OKC did from that point on, as far as an organization, as far as the administration, as far as Presti, Clay Bennett, uh, rest in peace, Aubrey McClendon, right? Like those type of guys ended up saying, you know what, screw it. Let's throw money to the wind and get the best that you can. And even if you're in the second, the second apron or whatever, like they still did it because they didn't care because they wanted to win. That was a learning. I think they thought it was going to come easy because of how fast they got good. And now I don't think this organization is going to take it. And they haven't taken it for granted. Like they make moves, they go for the Hartenstein. They overpaid probably for Hartenstein, to be honest. Like if you look at, I mean,
Based on his previous production,
correct. That's what I'm going
probably.
off of. That's what I'm going off
Yes.
of. Now
Yes.
he's proven worthy of the pay.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. I would
I'm
agree.
talking about when he signed. It was
Yeah.
it was viewed as an overpayment, and but they did it because they knew he could help them win and
Yeah.
take them to a level that they were missing last year. And you saw it against Dallas. Like the rebounding was their killer, and it still kind of is to an extent, except for when Chet and Hartenstein are on the court together. OKC is almost they're almost impossible to out rebound then. But the thing is that they haven't been on the court together very much at all this year. And I think that's going to be the interesting part going into the playoffs for them is how well are they going to mesh? How ready is Chet going to be for the grind of the playoffs? I got blasted on Twitter for saying that. Like, dude, they've got to play him more. You've got at the time they had 11 games, Jesse, 11 games left, and you're still sitting him out for hip. We know his hip's not really that hurt anymore. Like they're just resting him because they have their first place by so much, and he has been proven to be quite brittle since he's been drafted, right? Like outside of last year, he played all the games last year, but up to that point, he's missed quite a bit the other two seasons, right? So his
I've
whole go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, like in a perfect world, you wouldn't have to worry about resting him or even
Yeah.
Jada, like being patient with those guys and being able to have as big of a sample size as you can with all of those guys on the court together. Because that has been the one downside is that you haven't gotten, Jada, SGA, Chet, and Harnstein on the floor together for a ton of minutes.
Mhm.
At the same time, I think I look at this a couple different ways. I think one, when you have such a big lead on the one seed, I
Right.
think you can prioritize health even I would rather risk those guys not having a big enough sample size than risk health. I think that's one. And I mean, even he made me a little nervous because he was grabbing his hip, especially in that second quarter yesterday.
Yeah.
He was making me a little nervous. I think
Was
two,
it the hip that was it the hip that he was
I
it
think
was it
so.
that
I,
side?
I think so. And the other way I look at this, because I'm not saying you're wrong, I get what you're saying, but I think the other way I look at it is this team was so good without Chet. Now, do they need healthy Chet to win the title, like
Hmm.
100%, and they need those guys to mesh to win the title. But they were so good without Chet that I think it also, in a weird way, lowers the pressure on having to play him a ton of games because even if something happens in the playoffs, you can lean on how good this group was without Chet, right? Also, not to mention that adding Hartenstein was a direct response to Chet being overworked or this team having to be so reliant on Chet.
Yeah.
That's why you go out and get Hartenstein. So am I a little nervous about if Chet or J Dub can get back and get enough time with this group? I wouldn't say I'm not nervous. I am a little,
Yeah.
but I think the Thunder have worked themselves into such a good position, not only record wise, but what they did without Chet, that I'm willing to live with being a little squeamish about if Chet is playing enough. I think I'm willing to do that as opposed to are we pushing him too far if that hip is
Yeah.
still bothering him, I guess is what I would say.
Well, I guess the good part about Chet obviously being injured, and I don't know that I don't want to say good part. I guess the positive side of it, if there is one, is what it's done to Jay Will's progression, right? Like
Oh, he's been awesome
he
the last couple of
yes,
weeks, man.
holy crap. And I think that is a massive to see him start to peak at the right time this season in his play, right as you're starting to roll into the playoffs, is you couldn't ask for a better situation if you're Oklahoma City. Like, okay, cool. Um, maybe they have to rest Chet for a game in the playoffs. If they feel like they're up 3-0, they're going to rest him. You can rely on Jay Will to come in there and fill that void and do a really good job. He's been in the playoffs already, right? Last year,
Mm-hmm.
he proved last year in the playoffs he was worthy to be there. Like he played really well last year in the playoffs. He had his moments where you're like, crap, it would be nice to have a better post player, but for what he's asked to do and the amount of time he's asked to do it now, it's perfect. It's a perfect fit. It's great for OKC. It's great for Jay Will.
He's shooting 12 for 18 from three over the last four
Yeah.
games. I think, and also his passing, he's kind of really turned into like he looks like Hartenstein when he's on the floor. Like he's always been kind of a connector, handoffs, backdoor passes. He's always kind of played like that. I think you've seen Hartenstein's impact on him. And I think the other thing that's been interesting to me, because I'm glad you mentioned him, that even in the games that Chet and Hartenstein have played together, I just assumed, like, I always thought Jay Will's a great third string center, like as insurance if one of those guys gets hurt. I think one of the interesting things has been even when Chet and Hartenstein are playing, like even last night against the Kings, I always thought they would stagger them. So you always have one of them on the floor, right? But we're seeing moments where those two guys are healthy and they're still like to end the first quarter or to end the third quarter. They're putting Jay Will out as the big and pulling both Hartenstein and Chet because they've been doing Hartenstein and Chet lineups in the second and fourth quarters,
Yeah.
seeing what that looks like. And I know part of this is because J Dub's been hurt, but it makes me wonder the depth of this team, the flexibility they have, the different lineups they can run out. It has made me wonder about even if those two guys are healthy for a full playoff run, if Jay Will does have a role outside of just being an insurance center, because the Thunder have looked pretty comfortable throwing him out there to be a handoff facilitator guy, even when Chet and Hartenstein are both playing. So it's made my gears turn about what his role is going to be, but also it's made me wonder how are the Thunder going to play all these dudes in the playoffs?
Because
Like
you
genuinely,
have
how are
to
they going to play
shrink
them
your
all?
lineups. You do.
You
You
have
have
to.
to. Yes. You have
It's
to
made
shrink
me.
the That's
How
a
are you going
great
to
question.
find
I don't
20
know.
minutes for all these guys?
I don't know. And I think that kind of allows us to roll into the bigger question, right? Going in 10 games left. Neither one of us think OKC's gonna get to 70 wins. We don't even think they're gonna try, right? I think we both. Do you think they're gonna try?
I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna purpose. I'm more curious about.
They're lucky with what they have the last two
I,
games.
I'm
They could
I'm more
sit and still
curious
win.
about how much they push Chet and when J-Dub comes back, because I don't think they're going to be worried about 70 wins, but I do. But to what you were saying, I think you can prioritize health, but that doesn't mean you don't want some games with as
Mhm.
full a lineup as possible. And when everybody's playing, they're going to win most of it. So, anyways, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just curious, do they get to 70 wins just if everybody's healthy? Is more what I wonder.
Yeah, no, okay, so
But that would
that
require
would be that
them,
would be 16 games in a row.
yeah, it would require them winning almost every game from this point.
So yeah, they have to win every game at this point because they're at 60. They got 10 left. So yeah, I think the one thing you look at, they got the back to back with the Lakers. And they're both in Oklahoma City. Um, you have Utah, and I think the Pelicans are the last two games. Don't quote me on that. I feel like that's right. Um, if you were at 68, those are the best two teams you could ask for to try to get to 70, and being able to sit some guys too,
Right.
and probably still win. But um, I guess what I was getting at is with the lineup that Oklahoma City plays and the mass of players that they play, like they play 12 deep, 11 deep sometimes, right? Like, and in the playoffs, you probably play 8 guys, notoriously, maybe nine is a stretch. Um, when you get to the playoffs, or OKC gets to the playoffs, there's still that burgeoning question of, are they ready? Are they ready? And no matter how deep they are, can they find the lineups that fit? Not to appease everybody to get them to play, but to fit who they're playing against. And I think the good thing about it is OKC is so versatile. But I also think on the bad end, they're so versatile because I think it allows Dagnall to try to tinker a lot, and sometimes you can get in trouble doing that when you don't need to. Just to do it to keep the team chemistry going and flowing, and sometimes you have to, I guess, piss off a bench player to win, right? Maybe they don't get their minutes. And I wonder how that's going to play out in the playoffs. I really do, because this team is so used to playing so deep on the bench. That's going to be interesting.
No, it is. I mean, I think I worried more about if they were ready last year than I do this year. And there's a
Oh, I
bunch of reasons.
agree. I'm just doing
Well,
national. Yeah.
no, for sure. I mean, you could still say that this team is really young, and that even as much as last year was a scarring playoff series against the Mavs, you can still. I mean, they still haven't. I mean, even those Thunder teams with Russ and Katie and Harden, it was that third year where they really, when they really finally made that run and pushed past the Western Conference Finals. So you could say all of that, but I think I wasn't even really. A lot of people are going to talk about experience, and that's the calling card this year. That was the calling card last year. And I'm not saying I don't get it. I get it. I think, but they did. I was more worried last year because there were two obvious things. There were two obvious vulnerabilities with this team last year. It was, what do you do with Giddey, who was a good offensive player but didn't fit, and also was an easy target defensively, and also relying so much on Chet and not having interior size around him. And those were
Mhm.
the two things that hurt them in that Mavs series, and PJ Washington turning into Michael Jordan. But this year, I mean, yeah, I worry a little bit about experience, but they have not only lapped the field in the Western Conference, but they addressed the two big and really only issues about this team, which was adding more size and solving the Giddy equation. And you solve that with a guy in Alex Caruso who is going to, I mean, I think his minutes are going to ramp up in the playoffs, and he's already
Agreed.
showing the last couple of weeks, not only what he does defensively, but also that he can do stuff with the ball offensively. Like, and that's, we've really seen that the last couple of weeks. So, and I think even to what you're saying about, like an ego management thing, or did you almost have too much versatility? I think I would worry about that with some other teams more than I do with this one. And it's not only just the culture of it, but it's because Mark's been managing these guys' minutes all year. I mean, even look at Aaron Wiggins' minutes, where there are games where he's playing in the high 20s, and then there's
Mhm.
games where he's barely in the rotation. And then you factor in that you've got Isaiah Joe locked in on a long-term deal. You've got Aaron Wiggins on a long-term deal. You've got even guys like, Cason Wallace, who's still on a rookie deal. He's still got 3 years on a rookie deal. So I think like you're not really having to worry about off-season contract talks. And I think this has also been an entire season where they've been managing minutes. So I think I worry more about, are you playing the right lineups at the right time because you have so much versatility? But I also wonder if it's going to end up becoming simple and it's giving Alex Caruso more minutes, and it's gonna be stuff like that. Like, are there gonna be games where it just makes sense that Isaiah Joe only plays 12 minutes, or even Aaron Wiggins only plays 14 minutes, or Kenrich Williams isn't in the rotation at all? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, Kendrick Williams not being on a rotation doesn't hurt my feelings. You know that. Like I'm the anti Kendrick Williams guy. I don't know what it is. He played well last night. I'll give it to him. Like he played really well last night. Like, but there are games sometimes that I'm just like, I just want to bang my head on a desk. I'm like, why are you doing the things that you do? But
See, I have
that's
a soft spot for Kenrich. I
I
do. I have a
yeah.
soft spot.
He and SGA were kind of the two mainstays in the crap years. So
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
give it up. And Kendrick's kind of he started playing really well. I guess that second year that OKC was that they started making a run. Like they were bad one year and then they were bad to getting better and then they got really, really good the second year or the third year. SGA was the leader. So and went to play in, right? They lost to Minnesota to go to the actual playoffs, but and he was a big part of that. But you brought up Aaron Wiggins, and I have a soft spot for him. I am a
I
huge
love
Aaron
Aaron
Wiggins.
Wiggins.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think last year was a good learning curve for him as far as playoffs go and the expectation, the battle, the grind. Because you see a growth from last year to this year. Like I think you and I talked about it last year a little bit through text. It's just like he's getting better, and when they signed him for what he did, I think some people are like, "Wow, that was a really good deal," and some people are like, "Well, was he worth that?" Dude, he was worth that and more, in
Oh,
my
I was
opinion.
I was ecstatic when they signed him to that deal.
I
Anybody that
was too. I
anybody
was
that didn't
too.
love it, I was ecstatic.
I was too. I was so, and but I saw on Twitter like you're paying him that much. He did this and blah blah blah, and I'm like, dude, he's so young. Like he doesn't even know what he's doing yet. He
I
hasn't even
thought I thought it was a
tapped into his
steal.
potential.
I
A
thought it was a
huge
steal.
steal. Oh my gosh, huge steal. Uh, Same thing with Isaiah Joe. Huge steal. That
Oh yeah.
for a guy and for what he's done in his career, being drafted by the Sixers, I think 49th overall, second round back in I want to say 2021, 2020, I believe 2021.
Yeah. I think so.
Um, I- his growth has been amazing, and he's essentially an Oklahoman. I mean, he grew up right on the border at Fort Smith, Arkansas, and just he fits. Like they fit the culture. I think those two are going to be. I'm calling it right now before OKC and the playoffs are over because I don't want to predict what I think and all that. But just yet, I think those two make some ginormous plays for Oklahoma City that change the trajectory of said game or said series that they're in at that time.
Oh, I've told people there's going to be an Alex Caruso game, if not
Yep.
multiple. There's going to be an Aaron Wiggins game, and then there's going to be somebody like an Isaiah Joe hits 5 threes, and that's why you win. Like those kind of
Yep.
moments are going to happen, and not only going to happen, but they're going to have to happen. And I think for Isaiah Joe, it's one of the for as much as he's a sharpshooter, and that's been his whole archetype, right? To be a
Yep.
guy that if you like when you watch him, it's not only the effort he gives. He's not a bad defender, even though
Yep.
a lot of defense is mostly effort. But he's not a bad defender because he tries hard. He comes up with loose balls and offensive rebounds like all the time. And that's again to me, I think when the getting rid of Giddy, which no disrespect to
No,
Giddy,
he's doing great with the
it just wasn't
Bulls.
a good
Yeah.
it
Right.
just
Yeah.
wasn't a good fit. But to not only have a versatile roster where you can play so many different lineups and different guys, but to know that you can put any combination of five and be solid and sound defensively. And that includes someone like Isaiah Joe, who's shorter, skinnier, and more of a knockdown guy. Yeah, like
Mhm.
there's going to be a game where Isaiah Joe plays 24 minutes and hits 5 threes, and that's why the Thunder win. It's
Mhm.
gonna happen. It's
Yeah,
absolutely going to happen. It just is.
it has to happen, like you said. I, but that narrative out there, right? Like Shay, obviously, and I'm not talking about Shay Alexander. I'm talking about Shannon Sharp. Um, who else is kind of a detractor right now? Gilbert Arenas. Um,
Yeah, Pat Beverly had something fun to say a couple of days
yeah,
ago.
Pat Beverly, and then you've got George Lynch, I believe. Not George Lynch, but uh, oh my God, he played at Oklahoma City from the Pacers. Um, George Teague, excuse me.
Uh, oh, Jeff Teague.
Jeff Teague. Why is it George Teague? George Teague is a football quarterback back in the day. Yeah, Jeff Teague. Um, those guys they're so vocal that Oklahoma City's not going to be ready. You watch their podcasts and everybody argues with them. I think most people think Oklahoma City's they're going to do fine in the playoffs. At least make the Western Conference Finals, right? I think that's kind of the narrative that most people have, but you have some that are like they're going to lose in the first round. Like
I don't take those. I don't take that seriously. Not the not.
Gilbert Arenas, and I don't take it seriously because that dude never won a damn thing in his NBA career. Agent Zero has Agent Zero worthwhile playoff series wins. Like he's won playoff series, but like you get what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
nobody he's talking over his head is what I'm getting at. Um, but it's still interesting because it there are people that buy it. I mean, the Lakers still like how worried are you? Like honestly, you look at the Lakers lineup, how worried are you? Because I get it. Luka's good. LeBron's good. He's not the GOAT, that's Jordan, but like the LeBron stands can LeBron him and call him GOAT all they want, whatever. Nobody believes you. Um, I don't know that he's going to be able to last. Like, if anybody's going to be able to last or not last, it's got to be him, right? At 40 years old, right? Like, I think, though, I do think they're. I was with somebody in Austin this week, and they said, "Well, it's about that time for LeBron to take his sabbatical, like he does for like a week and a half, and go to Europe and get his HGH medication, um, so he can make his playoff run." They were joking, but they were being serious at the same time, right? Like it's been a running joke for a while.
he took his sabbatical early in the year this year, right? When he
Yeah,
gone for a couple of weeks.
he was gone recently for a couple of weeks too. Just came back actually.
To answer your question, I would be a lot more worried if they had not only a really impactful big, but
Yes,
a big rotation. And I mean Jackson Hayes is athletic and he can catch lobs and stuff, but I just and they have some athletic wings, Jared Vanderbilt and
Austin
Dorian
Reeves.
Finney-Smith and so I mean like I'm not saying it would
Austin
be.
Reeves is athletic as hell too. That dude can dunk.
No, yeah, he is, and trying to guard him and LeBron and Luca is certainly wouldn't be easy, and I don't think the Thunder would sweep them. But in terms of like how concerned I am, and it's also funny to think about what the narratives were last year for the Thunder this year. I just don't think the Lakers could handle the physicality of the Thunder, and it's not only just the bigs, the fact that you can throw Hartenstein and Chet at whoever. I think Chet would overwhelm them. Not only just Hartenstein, I think Chet will or would. But they don't even have anybody behind. I mean, they've been playing like Rui Hachimura at backup five. And
Mhm.
Rui Hachimura is a good player, but I think Hardenstein would throw him in the eighth row. I think Chet would too. I look at the West and I don't know. I really don't know who I'm like deathly afraid of. Like the Mavs legitimately worried me last year. Not only
Mhm.
because of their size, but Kyrie, Luca, um, and then it ended up being PJ Washington and Derek Jones Jr. hitting a bunch of threes that ended up being the real issue. None of that is to say, like, would I be shocked if the Lakers beat the Thunder, if Luca and LeBron and Austin Reeves for 2 weeks are just awesome and the Thunder maybe get bad shooting luck or something. Or even like would it shock me if the Nuggets beat the Thunder? No. But
Mhm.
from a like, oh my God, I don't want to play that team, or oh, that matchup would really worry me. I don't know who in the West fits that mold to me. Probably the Nuggets just because of Jokic,
Yeah.
but that's probably the closest thing to me.
And see the national narrative because of LeBron, it feels like it's and Luca, obviously, it feels like everybody thinks it's Lakers. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see that just because I would love to see OKC just take it to LeBron one last time, just for kicks and giggles, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think those back to back games later on here in about a week are going to be two of the most watched games in the NBA all season. I think everybody's looking forward to that, mainly because it's being built up and hyped up by ESPN and TNT, and those two look to be, making a headway towards the Western Conference Finals or whatever. But I'm with you. I think the Nuggets eventually are the team to watch, just because they don't have the depth OKC has, but they've got closer than anybody else in the West when it comes to you have Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. And if anybody's going to be able to be a spark, it's Russell Westbrook, particularly. And he will take that. He loves Oklahoma City. He's a Oklahoma Cityite through and through. Like that dude still to this day, we got a place here. Like he loves Oklahoma City. He still invests into the city. Like it's where his heart's at. But at the same time, he would love to take it to his city, the team that traded him, even though he wanted out, right? But he would love to be remembered as the guy because I think he's going to take SGA kind of taking some of the shine. There's narratives to all this that they're going to play up, right? When they do end up playing each other, or if they end up playing each other. As far as the other team, I think Golden State is a team that if they're healthy, I think could pose a problem.
So it's funny, like I think a lot of people would agree with you. I I'm not
I
that
know
way
you
with the
don't. I know,
Warriors.
but
It's not I probably in the minority. I just like again, it's which Jokic is the most terrifying.
PTSD, brother.
Yeah,
PTSD.
no, no. Look, that 20, I have never been the same since game 6 in 2016. Genuinely, that day changed me forever as a sports fan. So I get it. And I'm still scared of Steph Curry.
Yep.
Outside of Jokic, Curry might actually be second on the list of guys I would not want to play in a playoff series. So I get it. I just and maybe I might be overvaluing the Thunder too much. Like I genuinely might be, but I think I look at the Warriors and I just see obvious reasons why the Thunder would beat them. I look at the Lakers and I see obvious reasons why the Thunder would beat them. I actually think I would be more worried about the Clippers than I would be about the Warriors. I do. Just because they have so much athleticism. If
Hmm.
Kawhi is healthy, which the obvious thing is if Kawhi's healthy. If Kawhi is healthy, we saw it just a couple of
But they
nights ago.
play without J Dub and Chet. I
Sure,
mean, I think that's
sure.
where I come in. I'm like,
No,
yeah,
the Thunder would win that series.
yeah,
They would. I'm just like from that wouldn't be fun because the Clippers have a bunch of wings
yeah.
and Harden could get
Powell's
hot
good.
one
Yeah,
night and
yeah.
Kawhi is awesome if he's healthy. I think the Clippers would actually worry me more. But again, that's outside of the Nuggets. I just think the Thunder are better than the Nuggets, but I don't see a bunch of obvious reasons why the Thunder would beat them because Jokic is such a nightmare. And if Jamal Murray gets hot, it's still the best two-man game in the league. So outside of the Nuggets, I just look at every other team in the West and I can see, oh, the Thunder would beat them because of X, Y, and Z. And like with the Lakers, it's because they don't have the big
Fair.
man rotation. And against the Warriors, it's because I don't think they have the scoring and I don't think they have the athleticism. And so like it's just but ask me in 2 weeks, am I going
Yeah.
to feel differently? I might.
Well, my, my deal with the Warriors, and I agree with you, but I don't at the same time. Like I feel like they would be a problem just because Jimmy Butler, playoff Butler is tough. Like he somehow turns into this otherworldly guy in the playoffs. He's done it multiple times, and I don't get it. I don't understand it, but that's who he is, right? He's a winner. Same thing with Steph, right? I think the biggest drawback for them, ironically, right? Like you look at their lineup and you're like, oh, well, Draymond matches up defensively. He can defend Hartenstein, he can defend Chet, right? Because he's so physical. I think that kind of bodes against him because his attitude, he's going to get in some sort of trouble. He talks so much about OKC all the time, anyways, and I think the fan base gets at him. I got a buddy who's got court seats and he gives them to us. And, the few times I think I've been to two Golden State games, right? And this year, and both times, Draymond's just talking crap to the fans the whole time. Like he worries so much about what the fans are doing along the court and talks so much to them that could you imagine that arena amplified in the way that Oklahoma City fans, the only fan base that can do it, they are the only fan base in the NBA that can do what they do.
I went to every playoff game last year, and it was my first time to really experience a playoff run like that, like in person for all those
Mm-hmm.
games. It really is
It's
like
impossible to
my
match.
ears ring and my voice is
Mm.
hoarse after every playoff game. It's crazy.
It's unmatchable, and everybody talks about it. Like there were so many people when they got back in the playoffs last year, like all over Twitter. You saw players in the NBA, you saw fans, you saw analysts. Like, thank God Oklahoma City's back in the playoffs because watching their games on television is just a treat because of their fans.
Mhm.
The fan base is just it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's the best fan base in the NBA. It's not close to be. It's not close, but um I think he takes himself out of things mentally, and I think that's where Oklahoma City can get the Warriors, along with several other things. But I think as far as matchups go, as far as causing problems, I think Draymond he gets himself out of stuff. And you know what? How many times has he missed a playoff game because he's been kicked out the night before? But two or three times in his career, like that's kind of
I mean,
his mo.
he doomed them in that Cavs series in 2016.
He did.
Um,
He did. I
no,
was in
but
New York City when that happened. Actually, kind of funny.
I no, and like that's the thing. Like, and also just Draymond at 35. I mean, even look at that game last night. They got blown out by the Heat. No, obviously Steph didn't play, but they scored 86 points, which I think to me, like Steph
Yeah.
makes the whole thing go. Of
Yeah.
course, he's the offense, but I think to me that was an example last night of just even with Jimmy Butler, even though Draymond Green is still a good player, he's just older. I just
Yeah.
don't. But the one thing, and this is why I'm kind of curious about the next couple of weeks. If you're looking for something to watch, is we're seeing more and more teams completely sell out to stop Shea, and not only just shading help defense and stuff, but just throwing double teams at him. It's why the Thunder blew that game to the Wolves a few weeks ago. I was actually at that game.
They didn't
Uh,
have J Dub at that point, did they? No,
what
that
happened?
was
What
like the
game?
first game he was out, right?
No, it was. I think no, J Dub played in that game. We just
Did
blew.
he?
It was just one of those games. But if you're looking for, I'm curious to see how much defenses continue to do that, and if you're looking for storylines and why teams might be worse matchups than others, is that Steve Kerr and Draymond are great
Hmm.
defensive minds, and if you give them a playoff series to really focus on stopping Shea, like could that cause issues? I mean, I'm confident in the rest of the roster and playing 4-on-3 out of those double teams. I think over a 7-game series we would solve it. But if you're
Yeah.
looking for like even the Clippers, I think one of the reasons why the Clippers would make me nervous is in addition to their athleticism, especially if Kawhi's healthy, that Tyronn
Mhm.
Lue is such an awesome coach that if you give him a playoff series to focus on stopping Shea, I do think things could get. I think the Thunder would win both those series, but I don't think they'd be fun. And I think it would be.
Yeah.
I think those would be tough series. I do. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm not that. I'm not. I just think the Thunder would overwhelm the Warriors eventually. I just do.
I do too. I agree. I agree. Well, look, Oklahoma City, I believe I'm trying to look at their schedule, what they got coming up here real quick. Um, I believe, let me look. They're obviously 16-12. Um, by far, they're almost 16 games up, man. That is crazy.
Insane.
15 and a half games in first. 12.75 win margin, which is the most in league history, by the way. The biggest win margin in league history per game, which is and not by small amount, like by a couple points, mind you. So they are setting records left and right. Um, it does look like they have the Grizzlies coming up at home next. Who they have after the Grizzlies? Do you remember?
I'm not actually sure who they have after the Grizzlies.
I'm looking at it real quick. So they got the Grizzlies on March 27th, March 29th. They'll have Indiana Pacers at
Oh
home.
yeah, it's the Pacers.
They get
I'll
Chicago at
be.
home.
I should be at
They got a
both
4 game
those.
homestand coming up. So they're
I should
probably
be at
going
all
to
4 of those. I think I should be.
8:30 ESPN game on April 2nd with Detroit. And then they get 1 game away at Houston, which will be a tough game. And then they get back-to-back home games with the Lakers, and then they end with at Phoenix, at Utah, at New Orleans, which I think they go all out with Phoenix on April 9th, and I think the Utah game and New Orleans game, they probably sit the vast majority of their starting lineup those last 2 games. It's setting up really nice because they got 4 straight home games to hit 70, man. Like they got 4 straight. They could be at 64 by April 2nd. The at Houston game is going to be tough. I think the Lakers at home back to back on a Sunday and a Tuesday on April 6th and the 8th is tough. Obviously Phoenix looks like they've hit their stride winning 5 in a row. But I'm just going to predict it. I think they end up with 67 wins. 10
That sounds like I think they'll drop one of those Lakers games.
Yep.
I do, and I think there's like, and if you go against a Phoenix team that's really needing to win to get in the play-in, and if the Thunder sit a couple guys, like I could, they're not going to win out. I think 67 is a good. 67 is
that's still absurd. That's absurd.
Yeah, no, it is. It's crazy.
67 to 15.
It's crazy.
What?
Yeah, it's insane.
That's absurd. That's absurd. That's one of the best teams of all time. Like if you look at it regular season wise, what they've accomplished, like all the records that they've set, they're one of the best regular season teams, even at this point in the history of the NBA. So like, if you're an Oklahoma City fan, you got to be ecstatic of what's to come. 4 game stand at home. They could be at 64 by next week, by next Wednesday. Like that's crazy. That's crazy to think about, but hey, that's where we're at. Hope you guys enjoyed this inaugural version of the Bricktown Breakdown, an Oklahoma City podcast powered by OU Insider. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. We're going to do this after games, right? We're going to do this throughout the summer, throughout the playoffs, the draft. We're gonna try to make this a thing. We'll probably take a hiatus once July rolls around after the draft. Focus solely on the football, but then we'll kick back into gear and do it once a week, probably to start the season next year, and then as it gets further in, probably after February, after the All-Star break, we'll probably kick it into twice a week soon after that. But we hope you guys enjoyed this. Jesse and I love the Thunder. You all love the Thunder. You love the NBA. Come right here. We're going to talk about it a lot on this channel, on this podcast. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. For Jesse Crittenden, my name's Brandon Drum. That's going to do it for this version of the Bricktown Breakdown. Oklahoma City podcast, Oklahoma City Thunder podcast powered by OU Insider. You guys have a blessed day.